SMT Nation, we back. Nation, big news for T-Mobile, the nation's second largest carrier by wireless subscribers, just got a lot stronger in, a handful of states, in places where they historically have been pretty weak. So they're strengthening their hand. I want to talk a little bit about that deal today. We've got a few more details. I'll give you guys the rundown on the news, and then what we can kind of do is then also offer some commentary, some opinion, and, kind of put that all in there and just get this update out there. All right. And especially, you guys give me your takes on anything. Just go ahead and drop comments in the comment section, and we'll check out all the considerations. Link for the article from Yahoo Finance, I'll provide that for you guys. It'll be down in the description. Ways to support us can be found there as well. Please do like and share this video, subscribe if you're new here, and turn on the bell notifications icon to never miss an upload from the SMT. All right, folks, let's start about who this deal helps. Well, obviously, this helps T-Mobile. It makes their network a lot stronger, better able to compete with the likes of AT&T and Verizon in historically weaker markets for AT&T. For T-Mobile, lack of native network, previously mostly roaming, not really having market share. They get those customers now from US Cellular. It does seem to work for them. T-Mobile customers in these areas are going to enjoy stronger, more available network, more capacity. I think about the T-Mobile Home Internet proposition there probably improves in a big way. And to kind of throw this in there as well, who else it helps is the US Cellular customer. Larger native network with combined assets, more perks and benefits if they want to switch to the T-Mobile side of things, right? And I think lastly, who it really helps is it's sort of a bailout for US Cellular. They're not really viable. They're the last of the regionals. They lack network scaling. They just don't compete in that sense. They do have some assets. Obviously, they have value. They get to keep some of their towers, a bulk of their towers. They keep a bulk of their spectrum, too. And, of course, that could always be sold to some of the other providers like Verizon and AT&T, who most definitely are interested in assets, wireless assets like spectrum, the airwaves, and the bandwidth, right? So US Cellular retains 70% of its spectrum. T-Mobile really only buying about 30% of it. Frequencies in the 600 megahertz range, 1900 and the 2500. So you got your N71, N25, and also N41, which I'm not sure if maybe T-Mobile wants to put some of that to LTE in the case of 1900. They got some flexibility, but surprisingly, they also get access to 700, 2100, and then some 24 gigahertz. So if all those frequencies are indeed confirmed, there's a lot there they can play with. I kind of find this interesting that T-Mobile also now has access to 2,600 new cell sites that they previously did not. But I think what T-Mobile did very strategically is they only got enough spectrum to boost their network, but also prevent AT&T and Verizon potentially from wanting in on the residual and what's left and what remains because of the bandwidth size. It might not be worth the look. So that might be the case. So I think what they did was they used the ladder and then they knocked it down. They kicked it down the cliff. You know what I'm saying? That's what it seems like. I'm not sure. I have to get some of those details. We'll check those out later. But who does this harm? Obviously, no more US Cellular means that they're the last of the regionals. They're going extinct. So that means less competition. T-Mobile, generally speaking, has been a different company since 2020, gobbling up assets at every turn, adding new fees in terms of what they're doing with customers, raising prices, laying off tens of thousands of workers. They've been closing stores. They violated concessions with the merger. And all throughout all of this, they've been hiding behind excuses, one thing or another, basic telco excuses, inflation, and all those types of things, which is interesting because last year they said that most of their costs were fixed for several years. Now all of a sudden it's not, when they feel the need to raise pricing. So very disingenuous, speaking out of both sides of their mouth. Depending on when you ask them, they got a different answer for you. But that's kind of how it goes in telco, right? And they're no different than AT&T and Verizon. Speaking of, obviously AT&T and Verizon get a little bit weaker, relatively speaking. Their competitor in T-Mobile basically was not competitive in these places. Now they become a little bit more competitive. Overall, I think the transaction valued at $4.4 billion makes it very doable, financeable, and affordable for T-Mobile. The deal is expected to close in mid-2025. It will have regulation. You'll see like the FCC involved amongst other entities, but it most likely will be approved. I don't think it's going to be an issue. And there is a technicality of a breakup fee valued at $60 million, which is 2 drops in a bucket to a company like T-Mobile, which now has free cash flows quarterly in the range of over $3 billion per quarter. Anyways, tell me what you guys think of all these updates, these news, the pieces of information we provided, along with the commentary. Again, I can think of 5 ways that this transaction is bad for consumers. I can think of 5 ways where it's good. It really is a mixed bag. We'll have to see if Verizon and AT&T get involved for any of the assets at a later time. We'll also see how T-Mobile does with things moving forward as they progress and try to get this thing approved. What's your take? Sound off in the comment section below. You're the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard.